Let's go with conservative estimates. I mean, I've seen the low end of the estimation of what Ben Johnson got is $13 million a year to go to the Bears, which makes him like a top 10 paid coach in the league. And in Detroit, there was speculation, although no hard reporting, that it might have been $3 million, maybe as much as $4 million he was making here. But let's go ahead and call it 4. If he got a 4-year deal in Chicago, which again is probably a conservative estimate, he's going to be guaranteed $52 million over the next 4 years. He would have to work in Detroit for 13 years under his old salary to make that kind of money. And many coaches don't see the end of their contracts. I mean, Ben Johnson could be in Chicago for a couple of years, get fired, and net $52 million. You go from being taken care of, the salary he was making here in Detroit was an incredible salary. He was totally taking care of his family, but he's moved into that generational wealth where it starts to impact not just your kids, but their kids. I mean, that's what he's taken here.
Yeah, I really don't have much of an issue. The only slight issue I have is it was the Bears job, but that's a me thing. It's going to bother me as a fan, but I can't blame him for taking the job. If that's when we talked about all these jobs, which was the best one out there? Well, the best offense, the ready to win offense, is the Bears. But they've got some other issues they have to work out with the front office. That's the challenge. But the money is massive. How do you turn that down? And how do you turn down the opportunity to work with somebody who you think is really talented, somebody who he saw twice this year? By the way, I'm not going to say he carved up the Lions, but didn't he throw for like 5 touchdowns and nearly 300 yards a game in the 2 games with no interceptions? Caleb Williams is a talent. He did really well. So, it sucks that he's going in division. That's the part that really hurts and stinks. And then you'll have some more opportunity to be mad if he does take some coaches with him. But those coaches would have to be elevated to business. I don't think he can take multiple. I think he can take one guy and elevate him to be his OC, and that's about it. Otherwise, they're lateral movements for coaches, and I don't think they do that.
Gator, I think the question that Doug is asking, like, are you mad at Ben Johnson? Can you be mad at Ben Johnson? Is it fair? Like, I think rationally, I think everyone knows why he took it or understands why he took the job. But they can still be mad, is what I'm saying. As fans, they can still be upset that he chose a job in the division. That, it's crazy. Like I said, I'm not mad at Ben Johnson. I totally understand why he took the job. If these $13 million per year reports are true, he's probably making more than Dan Campbell. He's making more money than Dan Campbell. And he's never coached an NFL game as a head coach.
Well, then Dan Campbell will be happy because guess who's going to get a raise?
Maybe. I mean, Ben Johnson's entered the top 10 category. I mean, these guys, the only guys making more than him would be like Sean Payton, Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh signed a $16 million per year contract this offseason. I mean, that's the stratosphere Ben Johnson's entering.
Which
and
is
maybe
more
Dan
reason
Campbell,
why he left.
Yeah, exactly.
248-539-9797. Derek is next on 97.1 The Ticket. Hello, Derek.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
We're good, thank you.
All right, listen, I'm definitely mad at Ben Johnson as a Lions fan, and I think I have a right to be. Because it's an old saying, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And, of course, he has absolutely every right to take a job and take care of his family. That's besides the point. For me, I don't think that you can hire a staff, like you took the job, prepare for a game plan, all this in a matter of days. And so I think the Lions were ill-prepared because he had one foot out the door fantasizing about this $52, $53 million gig he's about to get. And you can the evidence is in the play calling and how the game went.
Oh, come on.
So that's my take on it.
How is the evidence in the play calling? How is the play calling in the game Saturday any different than any other game they played this year?
Run the ball.
They did run the ball until they got down by 2 scores.
3rd and 2, you pass the ball and he fumbles the ball. Then you giving a guy who never passed in his life a flea flick or whatever. Come on, man. Now you want to?
They were going to let Penei Sewell throw a pass earlier in the season
when he wasn't distracted.
What are you talking about?
You asked me if I was mad. I'm mad, and I think it's not what you do; it's how you do
All right,
it.
you can be mad, but just admit it's irrational.
I am being rational.
I said irrational because I think you're being irrational.
Okay, so listen, I don't think he prepared this team. I don't think he had time to. Period.
Okay,
I mean, he gave us I think we were ill prepared based off of his decision to leave and the way he did it. And then in 48 hours, we lose on Saturday. Monday afternoon, we find out he's taking this gig. You can't convince me that this wasn't already in the making.
All right, I'll try a little bit here, Derek. Then how about Monday? The Bears realize, okay, Ben Johnson just got bounced. We need to make our move on our guy before anybody else does, because now he's free to do in-person interviews with any team in the country here. We got to make our move. Hey, Ben, we're going to put the full court press on you. Here's a 4-year, $13 million a year job. You want it?
Okay, but I don't think they had to press too hard.
Okay, well, Derek,
I don't think he had to press too hard. I don't believe that it was a Monday morning type of thing.
What if he loved the opportunity to begin with?
These things don't happen like that. These guys are professionals.
These things happen like this all the time.
I don't agree with that.
Okay, Derek, I'll give you one reason. I'll tell you what. We got to get to a break. We're up against it. When we come back, though, I'm going to give you one reason why I do believe the Bears stepped it up on Monday. Are we asking people, is it fair to be mad at Ben Johnson and then getting mad at them for being mad at Ben Johnson? And the answer is probably yes.
Yeah, sorry.
But here's
you know what, Derek? I'm sorry.
Well, you're the man. Be mad.
I'm sorry. Because I want it on my terms, which is like, I want people to admit it's like, Doug, I'm mad,
I can admit when I'm being irrational.
And it's irrational that you're mad
I'm
about it. Because in reality, the game plan, what they did this Saturday, was the same that they've done every other game this year. They run the same kinds of trick plays. And no, I didn't like seeing Jamison Williams throw the ball either. But it would have been fun to see it, just like it would have been fun if Penei Sewell had time to throw the pass. But is it ridiculous to have an offensive lineman rolling right and throwing a pass? Yes. It's more ridiculous to see that than to see J-Mo doing it.
The totality of all the trick plays was the net positive on this team, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But they weren't going to be 100%. Neither is every run play, every pass play, they're not 100%. For some reason, though, trick plays, when you call a trick play and it doesn't work, it feels like there's this punitive measure of you should have never called that.
Right.
Well, there's normal interceptions too. And, people say it's an unnecessary risk. And yet there were risks they took all season long. Every risk is unnecessary.
And the Lions had a pretty equitable split during the game between running and passing the ball up until the point where they got down by double digits. And then they had to change things up, and they threw it, I think it was literally 17 times in the last two drives once they got down by 17.
To our guy, Derek, though, who thinks that these – it's okay. You and Derek, I hope, are still cool. The thing about it is, Derek – made the comment of he didn't think things go down that quickly. The Bears were not the favorite to land Ben Johnson. Going into the weekend, everybody was talking about the partial owner of the Raiders being in Detroit and being around Ben Johnson. The moment the Lions lost, was Tom Brady, who was in Detroit, allowed to talk to Ben Johnson? And if you're a Bears guy, and by Bears guy, I mean, I guess just a Bears owner. If you're in the Bears ownership group, or you're the GM and you want to hire Ben Johnson, and you know that Tom Brady was in Detroit all weekend and Ben Johnson became available, there was a sense of urgency to act quickly.
Right. Like, did he get on a bat phone and say, hey, just so you know, I'm at Shinola.
Is that a don't take the Raiders job yet moment? That does happen where people will say, don't take that job yet until we talk.
No, but the other thing is, what's the best option for you as a coach to step in and have success right away? Is it with the Raiders that don't have a quarterback and don't have an offense to speak of? Or is it with the Bears that have the first pick from overall last year who's leading the team as a quarterback, and they've got a ton of offensive help?
And both those organizations, to be clear, the Bears and the Raiders are both completely screwed with the division they're in.
Yes.
They're both completely screwed.
Well, unless he can get them up to speed. I mean, the Bears were the dog of the division, right? Mm-hmm. But they also had some fight in them. That's a team that did have Washington beat until a Hail Mary. I mean, they had some heartbreaking losses in Chicago. That's a team that needs to learn how to win. They've got talent on that team. They just had Eberflus. That was their biggest issue.
The Bears won 5 games. The Raiders won 4. The NFC North was the best division in the NFC. Yeah. The AFC West is the best division in the AFC. Those 3 teams in the AFC have all established good quarterbacks of various degrees. It feels like only probably 2 of the teams in the NFC, because we don't know who the Vikings are, have their quarterback figured out. Let's just say that they both have the same challenge. One of them had a partial owner in Detroit. The other one reacted. I mean, the Chicago Bears reacted like, we need to lock this up immediately. And I think it did happen very quickly.
And I think right now, we've already mentioned this a few times, but Lions fans are emotional. We're grieving still in many ways, right? And so things that they didn't have to think about before, they're thinking about now, and they're bothered by it. Like allowing coordinators to interview during the playoffs. I see text every day during the show, and so many people are upset that, that this is allowed. But this has been going on for years. It just never affected the Lions before.
Nobody cared.
No one cared. But now when it affects the Lions, and you see Aaron Glenn getting interviews during the playoffs and Ben Johnson getting interviewed during the playoffs, you're like, what the hell is this? Why is this allowed? And so people are upset. And that's why things move so quickly. As soon as you lose, man, they were after your coordinators as fast as can be.